Hey guys, so this is the first episode of the review series that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, since probably November. Um, I meant to start this last year, but I got busy and everything, and I just never got around to it. And then I was gonna do a video every month starting in January, and then I got busy and never got around to it. So this is January's episode, coming in February, but that's okay. The goal of this review series is, it's called 18 or older, so that's kind of a double entendre because it's for movies that are 18 years or older, and it's also just kind of a fun title. So, my first review is for a movie that is always talked about and referenced, but I had never seen personally. So, I wanted to review it, and I think it's a good way to start off, kind of set the tone for the series as it's going to be. Quick note, this is called 18 or older, and a lot of the reviews will be for R-rated movies, and so just expect some themes and stuff from more adult movies to come up and stuff. I think that they need to be talked about, and a lot of times it's going to be hard to talk about a movie without talking about some of the more grown-up aspects of it. So, just keep that in mind moving forward. Today, I will be reviewing The Godfather. Quick overview. The Godfather is a movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola and starring Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, and Robert Duvall. It came out in 1972. It won 3 Academy Awards, including the award for Best Picture, and it won like 5 Golden Globes. So it's pretty safe to say that this movie is very universally liked. It has a 100 Metascore on IMDb when I was looking up information about it. So yeah, a lot of people like this movie, which I like it too, but that doesn't mean I don't have complaints about it. I can't really talk anymore about this without getting into spoiler territory, so you're being warned. If you haven't seen the movie, I definitely recommend you go watch it and then come back and watch this video afterwards, the rest of this video. It's a little long, so you might need to have a solid chunk of time, but yeah, come back anytime. This video will stay up forever, hopefully. The plot. So, the plot of The Godfather, and you're gonna have to excuse me because I'm gonna have to read some of this because it is very densely packed movie, so there's a lot of stuff going on a lot of times at the same time, so I'm gonna kind of look at my notes. And you got me. I don't have this memorized, I'm sorry. So, the plot of The Godfather revolves around the Corleone family. It's one of 5 powerful families in the New York City Italian mob. The film takes place in 1945, so 1946, right after the end of World War II. The opening scene is the father Corleone, who he's referred to as Don, but Don is more of a title. His name's actually Vito. Don is like the head of a family, or like the top dude. So it's his daughter's wedding, and apparently in Italian mob lore tradition, any offer has to be accepted by the Don of the family on their daughter's wedding. So he's accepting favors, and it's a really great introduction to his character and how he is, his behavior, and all that stuff. This is also presumably the day that his youngest son, Michael, is returning to the family from being in the war. It's never explicitly stated that he was in the war, but he's wearing a military uniform and stuff, so you kind of get that. He also brings along his girlfriend, Kay, who is not involved in the family in any way, and she is the audience's view into the Corleone family from like an outsider perspective. She's who has everything explained to her, so she's our window into the family. Michael really makes it clear from the outset that he doesn't want to do things his father's way. He has a line saying that, and it's interesting seeing his character act on that motivation throughout the film. We're also introduced to Mike's other brothers, Santino, who's kind of a hothead. It's explored later in the film. Fredo, who is pretty much a coward. It's never, like, they never really dive too deep into this, but he does stuff later in the movie that, to me, his actions align with, kind of the cowardly figure. And Tom Hagen is the third brother, who is not actually a part of the family. He was taken in by the Don Corleone when he was very young, and so he's not blood related to them, but he acts as their, like, second-hand man. He's the lawyer who keeps them all in check, and he's kind of the mastermind behind the mastermind, so I thought he was a really interesting character. From here, the family finds themselves into a lot of trouble. They attempt to intimidate another one of the Italian families and kind of branch out into the drug business, since they've only been handling gambling from this point. And so they try to have a show of force, and it doesn't go well for them. Their biggest, scariest dude is, like, immediately killed, and then some of the other opposing family members actually attempt to kill the Don, and they don't succeed, but it weakens the family very much. So these actions lead to the eventual involvement of Michael, and as previously stated, he doesn't want to be in the family business, but he feels he has to now that they've attempted to murder his father, and his father's kind of out of commission for a while. And so he is sent on kind of a desperate mission that nobody's ever done before, and he takes out the leader of an opposing family and a police captain, which has never happened in the families. But these actions send him into kind of exile, isolation. He has to leave because it's too hot. He's off in Italy. Meanwhile, his brother Santino, the hothead, takes over for the family. And if you have somebody with a short fuse in charge of a giant Italian mob, that's not always going to be the best. And so while he's over here acting a fool in New York, Mike is in Italy getting married to a different girl, not Kay, because he doesn't know when he's going to come back. Some of the agents of the opposing mob, I guess, track down him in Italy and car bomb his girlfriend. His wife. They were attempting to car bomb him, but he wasn't in the car, which prompts his return to Italy shortly after his brother is killed by the opposing family in just an absolutely brutal fashion. Like, it's rough. So Santino is dead, and this all kind of causes Don Vito to think really hard. And he's like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this Italian mob stuff as much anymore. That might be kind of bad. And so he calls a meeting together for the 5 families, and he's like, hey, listen, a lot of our kids have died. Let's not do this. And they're all like, yeah, okay, I guess. But he uses this meeting to also figure out who he's been fighting the whole time. And they thought it was one family, but they actually figure out that it's another one. During this period, the Don kind of falls into poor health. He steps down from being the head of the family, and Michael actually becomes the head of the family. And so the Don gives Michael some wise words of advice. He tells him kind of who to expect for betrayal, and then he has a heart attack and dies. Now Michael is in charge, and Michael has had this huge character arc and become even more ruthless than his father before him, and he basically just kills everybody who's wronged him in like a 2-minute section in the movie. It's one of the best montages put to film, because he's at this baptism and then it's cutting away to all these people just being killed by the mob. So then he figures out that his own brother-in-law kind of betrayed him. He got Santino killed, and so he has him killed. And when his sister confronts him about it. He lies to his sister and his wife, Kay. They get married. And the movie ends with Kay being shut out of the family business. Our view into the family literally closes as the door is closed on Kay, which is a really good ending. It's obviously been parodied and referenced a whole lot, but it's very intelligently done. So these are some of the pros of the movie. I try to take notes when I'm gonna do something like this for a movie, but I just got so enraptured by the movie that I didn't remember to take notes. There's great action in this movie. When there is action, it's almost always really well done, which is something to admire. There's a lot of really good editing, like one of the scenes I'll reference later, but a lot of the editing is just really top notch. And then there's obviously really good acting. I mean, it's a pretty A-list cast now. I mean, Marlon Brando was obviously a star at the time. Robert Duvall and Al Pacino were still young, but this is kind of their breakout roles. So obviously, most of the acting is really good. Some of it is okay. As previously mentioned, character arcs and story arcs are really good. They're really tight, they're solid, and they've kind of been a stepping stone for a lot of movies today. Some cons. Now, probably the biggest detriment to this movie is that it is 3 hours long, which is not necessarily always a bad thing, but it didn't keep my interest for the whole 3 hours. There were some scenes that I felt could have been cut that just didn't really need to be there. There were some scenes that didn't really add to the plot very much, and when you're pushing a 3-hour runtime, you need to cut those. If you're trying to pad runtime, I understand, but this movie didn't need to be padded. There's some weird editing. I mean, I know I just gave a good editing, but some establishing shots go on for like what feels too long, and there's lots of fades early on and stuff, and it's just not always. I feel like it could be better, but that's, upon reflection. And there's occasional confusion in the story. There's one scene, it's a famous scene because he says, leave the gun, take the cannoli, that scene. I was confused because I didn't really know why the person was being killed. They didn't really elaborate on a whole lot of that, and sometimes a lot of the names, the Italian names, were just kind of thrown around, and we were expected to know who that was, but that's not always the case. So this is my favorite segment, because growing up, my family, whenever we would go see movies, we would always say, walking back to the car, or sometimes even in the car if it was a really good movie, we'd talk about our favorite parts, and that's not something that I've ever really encountered in any other reviews or anything like that, so I think it's something special. It's a fun little tradition to have. So my favorite part of the movie is the restaurant scene that sends Michael into exile. It was obviously extraordinarily edited because the restaurant's by a subway, and so every time the subway comes, there's a screeching noise that just really adds to the tension, and it builds on the dramatic irony that the viewer has. And also, it's just a brutal scene. I'm kind of weird in that I like when movies go for more brutal, realistic deaths. I like a lot of old westerns like that because, people just it's kind of overacting sometimes, but I think it's cool. I like that kind of stuff. So when he kills Sollozzo and McCluskey is just kind of still eating, he doesn't even realize he's been shot. I thought that was kind of a nice touch because it wasn't as expected. Kind of the last part of the review is, do I recommend the movie? Obviously I do. The movie had more pros than cons, and the cons were kind of minor nitpicks from a 40 years later standpoint. I obviously think you guys should watch this movie. There's nothing else I can say about that, but if you got this far, you kind of had everything spoiled for you, but you should still watch it. Also, the movie is on Netflix right now, so it's really easy for you to just click over and watch it, Okay, so that's it for the review. I know these are going to be longer than my normal videos, obviously, because they're not sketches and they're not just quick updates. I want to really delve into movies, analyze them, why I like them, why I didn't like them, because not only does it give you guys an idea of how I work and what kind of things I like, but I think it opens kind of a window for discussion, because, you know, maybe I'm wrong about some stuff. No, yeah, I might be wrong, I might not have caught some details and stuff, so if you guys have any comments about what I did or didn't talk about, please leave a comment below. Like I said, the goal of this series is for a younger person to review these movies that came out before I was even born, and kind of give a modern perspective on how they hold up and everything. February's movie will be Good Morning Vietnam. This is a movie that I've had recommended to me many times. It stars one of the best, Robin Williams, and I've never seen it, and I feel like a lot of the movies that I like are kind of violent, darker movies, and so this is a comedy from what I'm told. I haven't seen really anything from it, so I'm excited to watch it. That should be coming sometime before the end of the month. This time. It won't be in March. This will be February. You're getting two. Thank you for watching, you guys. Please comment, tweet, Instagram, whatever you want. Follow me. All my social media stuff is below. Like or dislike the video. That will give me a lot of great feedback. Comments also will give feedback because I need to know what I did and didn't do well. Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Sharing really will help get my name out there so I can reach a wider audience. I'm just really trying to get to as many people as I can. Also, one last thing, I didn't comment about this at the beginning of the video, but this is a little different setup than my updates video. I wanted to kind of give a different feel, so this is still in my room, but it's not by the window. The window's over there. So this will be my review setup, kind of. I mean, it might move around and everything because I don't have markers. Behind me, I have a Baby Driver poster, which was given to me for Christmas by my friend Haley, and a 100 movies bucket list poster, which was given to me by my friend Emma for my birthday. And so hopefully as I watch more movies, some of which are on this list, like The Godfather, you'll see less of those gray spots, and eventually I'll have it all filled out. I'm going to try and make this a movie wall, so that way you'll know you're watching a movie channel if you didn't already. I think that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.